At the start of the year, you had mentioned a very interesting point that the market weight or the profit pool of IT companies could well be in a few years what banking is today. Now, if the argument around IT was very positive for the last 24 months, it's just turned a bit sullen. And just last night or last evening, I think the ISG call referred to how 2023 could be a year of revenue challenges as well, if 2022 has been a year of, or will be a year of margin challenges. Now, is this a short-lived 12, 18-month phenomenon? And is the longer term looking much brighter? And if so, why?
So there's something that's happened with IT, okay, and while we're seeing margin pressures that are happening in India. So look at wage inflation that's happening in the US. There are two things. I mean, US is a fairly large client of India, right? And India, I mean, Indian IT is almost 60-70% of global offshoring. So if you look at US wage inflation, okay, we are importing that. So wage inflation is mid-teens out there or high teens out there. Indian IT businesses are importing that wage inflation. So I don't think margin challenges are going to be a permanent fixture for these companies. It probably won't go back to its previous high, but it may not be a permanent fixture for these companies. I mean, when I say margin pressures are not going to be permanent fixtures. Second is, every single government and every single company is almost doubling IT spends. Okay, and that's the long-term structure of this market. Now, where in the near-term cycle and maybe first half of 2023 you'll see challenges is all these digital businesses that were funded, or the non-profit profit-making businesses that were funded by the easy liquidity will have challenges too on their IT budgets, which is very similar to what happened in year 2000. Okay, a lot of these companies went bust in the US. Okay, and that and growth rates dropped from almost 50-60% to 20-30% in India, and that was a new normal of 20-30%. And the new normal for these companies will be somewhere where in the region for at least the next 1 year. So you move from a margin pressure. I will largely be in sync with saying that you will see some kind of pressure coming in on the headline numbers on the headline numbers for international non-competitive international businesses and IT services. But I think Indian companies will be the main beneficiaries of that cycle. Because to hire an IT professional in the US is not cheap anymore.
Yeah.
Companies are looking at getting their costs done and outsourcing them off to India. So I would not be too wary of that over the next 6 months. If at all, this first round of margin pressure, and if there is a pressure on top line or on sales, it's more of an opportunity rather than a long-term